Look, we all saw this coming. The second we met Nemik in the 4th episode of Andor, and we saw that he was kind and trusting and a nerd about space and into building models, we knew he was too good for this world, but that doesn't mean it hurt any less when he died in episode 6. And honestly, I was holding out hope that he would make it. I wasn't talking about it because I didn't want to be putting spoilers out there, but I remembered the first trailer where Dr. Quadpaw was first revealed, and he was straight up shown operating on Nemik. So I figured, oh, he'll be hurt, but he'll come out of this okay. But no. He's gone, and that sucks, but that doesn't mean his death was in vain. I think it's clear he affected the trajectory of Cassian's life. They had several discussions, and Nemik's manifesto has now made its way into Andor's possession. The obvious path forward would be that he reads it and is continued to be changed by what he finds inside to the point where he will eventually give his own life for the galaxy. I am loving the backwards progression that we have been able to experience from the original Star Wars to Rogue One and now Andor. Star Wars told us the story of another young man taking his first steps into a larger world, learning about how all life is connected through a force and how to use that force to destroy the Death Star and save the galaxy. Then we stepped backwards a bit into Rogue One, where we saw all of the people that had to give their lives just for the hope that someone could eventually make an impossible shot. And now we're stepping back yet again to see how those people were affected by others. I've always loved background characters in Star Wars. One of my favorite things to ask people is who their favorite minor character is. Andor feels like an exploration into those minor characters to the point where they aren't minor anymore. Look around the Rebel briefing room before the battles of Yavin or Andor, and it's easy to imagine all of those extras having stories just like Nemik's. I went into this series thinking it would definitely make me look at Rogue One with new eyes, but it's making the entire rebellion feel even more real. So yeah, Nemik is gone, but not forgotten, and I wanted to go back through his scenes and dig into them a little more, point out the kind of person he is, why he was an ideal teacher for Cassian, and explore the specific lessons he passed on that I think will continue to change him. When we first meet the young man, he is asleep on watch. He is not the best soldier, which isn't great. The rebellion does need good fighters, but to me it also shows that his motivation to fight the Empire isn't because he craves violence or adventure or anything like that. Skeen tells him falling asleep on watch would get him killed if he were in Saw Gerrera's partisans, and yeah, I don't think Nemik would fit in there at all, and that's a good thing. The partisans are brutal. They are the epitome of winning at any cost. They butcher civilians if it means butchering Imperials as well. I bet Nemik has something about that in his manifesto, about knowing how far is too far. When Cassian is introduced to the group, Nemik is the only member to trust and accept him. He is wrong about Cassian, he is a little naive, but at the same time, should we not hope to see the best in people first and foremost? I'm not necessarily saying to do that in a high-stakes secret mission that's only a few days away, but more in general everyday life. I would rather be the kind of person that has to be convinced not to like someone, not the other way around. His next scene is with the team running Cassian through the plan with the model, and yeah, the model bit where he treats it delicately because he built it is a fun character detail, but I think the more telling moment is when he describes the Eye of Aldhani to the point where even Lieutenant Gorn kind of chuckles at him. We know Gorn cares about the Dani, and the Eye means something to him. He has a connection to the planet. I don't think Nemik is from Aldhani. I might be wrong there, but I get the sense that he just learned as much as he could on his own, more than just a cover. It's something we know the Empire never does. They don't care, and they don't learn, and not understanding the Eye left them vulnerable. But Nemik does care, which allows him to ultimately chart a safe path through the Eye. His next scene is when he really starts to connect with Cassian one-on-one. First, they discuss the old tech that he will use to chart that safe path. He talks about how newer technology is less reliable because it's dependent on the proprietary components of its manufacturer. But Nemik's device was made in a simpler time. It was designed for anyone to use. It's easily repairable by anyone. The way he talks about manufacturers keeping you trapped using their parts and their tech and needing them to fix their stuff, which becomes obsolete every other year. Yeah, as someone with an Apple Watch on their wrist and an iPhone in their pocket, that hits home. Older tech is harder to learn, but can bring great rewards along with it. I'm not saying I'm about to throw away all of my Apple products and get off the grid, but Nemik has a point. Some corporations will hide behind the ideas of ease and comfort in exchange for those little bits of freedom, and in exchange for the ability to track you, learn about you, and so on. I love that Nemik is able to use his old device to save the lives of his crew while we see the TIE pilots struggling to do anything because their standard issue fighters aren't equipped to handle something like the Eye. When Skeen mentions Nemik's manifesto, the kid just starts to unload on Cassian. He says a lot, and it's all worthwhile. I love the line about how the Empire commits so many atrocities so fast that it's hard to keep up. The pace of repression outstrips our ability to understand it. He talks so fast, I needed subtitles and the pause button to understand it all. But it's clear he's passionate, and I think that's all Cassian needed to understand at that moment. And Nemik understands that his new friend is at least open to what he has to say, calling him his ideal reader. He soon learns that Cassian is a mercenary, and I love that his first instinct is to write out his feelings. He doesn't write him off completely, he doesn't treat him as lesser than, he uses it all as an opportunity to explore his own thoughts on the matter, adjust his attitude, and then open a discussion with Cassian. I never got a holier-than-thou sense from him, just a desire to find common ground. He remains glad to have Cassian on his side, and I think he harbors a hope that the mercenary could find a greater purpose. He holds onto that hope even as he's dying. First, he saves everyone's life by navigating them through the Eye, and then he asks Vel to give his manifesto to Cassian after he's gone. It's like a mini version of Scarif. Cassian and Jyn give their lives to transmit the Death Star plans to the Rebel fleet, but they don't know if anyone is listening. They walk away just with the hope that someone, somewhere will get what they need for the next person to pick up the baton and run with it. Nemik has no idea if Vel will hand off the manifesto, he has no idea if Cassian will accept it or read it, he doesn't know if the message will sink in, but he hopes it will. We, the audience, don't know for sure that he will read it either, but I don't see how he couldn't. It might take some time, but I do think the next step on Cassian's journey is some personal soul-searching. He was kind of forced into the job with Vel and her crew, now he's heading out on his own, and I have no idea what he'll get up to, but I have to imagine his path will intersect with Luthen's again. We know there's more to see on Ferrix, but maybe this time Cassian will seek Luthen out, and he'll start to make some choices of his own. And I would like to believe that those choices will continue to be affected by Nemik, the young kid who helped shape Cassian into the kind of person that would give his own life for nothing more than the hope of a better future for the galaxy. But that's all I've got to say about Nemik, for now. I miss him already. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel for all our Andor coverage, follow us on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and consider checking out our Patreon page for our video reactions and audio commentaries for every new episode. And you can check out this playlist for all of our existing Andor content. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.